When planning the road to success, there are a few steps to keep in mind. Identifying and solving the cause, facing and embracing change, goal setting, and being accountable. We'll talk about this today on Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. New and healthier habits lead to prosperity in all areas of your life and business. Now, here's your host, Chris Salem.
Hi, welcome to Sustainable Success. My name is Chris Salem, your host, and if this is your first time, you found us here at Voice America Business Channel here on the Lisbon platform. We've been here since January of 2025, and again, for all of the followers that have been with us since back in May of 2017, you've seen us how we've evolved over the years. And again, we want to welcome all the new listeners here. Again, you can listen to us here on the Lisbon platform, as well as Spotify, Apple, and also YouTube, where we do a live stream when we're actually recording the show live. That's on Thursdays every afternoon, so you can always see it on YouTube as well as we're actually recording the show. So for those that have the time, feel free to check that out. Again, if you are new to us, we encourage you to also check out our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. There we've had many of our great guests sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business and taking you to the next level. And our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, I'm looking forward for today's show. We are talking about the empowered empath, why some leaders self-sabotage when visibility strikes. I cannot wait to hear this. As you know, we've covered many leadership topics here over the years at Sustainable Success, and this is one that I've seen a lot of leaders do. And now we're going to have the right subject matter expert that's going to be sharing with you how visibility can flip the empath's gifts into glitches. And now you're going to be able to unpack why the same traits that make you a powerful listener, healer, strategist can also trigger sabotage when the spotlight hits. Well, nonetheless, you're going to get some insights on how we can reverse that and make that to work for you. And we're going to be here with Mell B. And she goes by Mell B. Again, Mell B for short. And I'll give you a little background about Mell. Mell mentors empathetic leaders in energetic sovereignty who want to step into and expand their visibility without burnout. She teaches intuitive mastery with emotional strategy and energy protection so clients can reclaim their mission and operate as unwavered leader. Through frameworks like the Claire Signature Mapping and the 3S Leader's Edge, Mell guides sensitive high performers to hold clean boundaries and grow presence their nervous systems can actually sustain. She brings Lighthouse Energy to every conversation and a calm precision that decodes complexity into calm clarity so you can move the overgiving into conscious success. And without further ado, we welcome Mell B to the show. Mell, how you doing today? I know it's very, very late for you, but you are here. You are dedicated. And again, we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your sleeping schedule here, because you're in Australia, to be with us here today.
It's an honor. Can't wait to share something that serves the world.
Well, let's just talk about, before we get into some of the things that you're going to be sharing today to help leaders really, to see where they might be, self-sabotaging themselves in this particular area. I would like to get maybe a backstory about what brought you into what you do today in helping leaders in this particular area as the empowered empath.
Well, let's address the first thing, and that's maybe my accent. So the first thing people are like, what's her accent? Where is she from? What's it all about? So I grew up in Scotland, and that's what I lovingly refer to as like my empathic training ground. I kind of grew up in a bit of a, let's just say it, my stepfather was not a decent human being. He was a little bit abusive, and that had me leaving home at the tender age of 15. And that kind of progressed, unfortunately, into what I now term as trifecta of trauma. But that's great because that's forged who I am, and that set of resilient philosophies and the way I show up as with sovereignty and critical thinking. I had to learn fast how to use the world and be in the world to serve in a way that is beneficial to myself. Like, we have to look after self, but how do I kind of translate that in? And so then I had to fast track, obviously, as a young human at the age of 15. So I started into the corporate life really young. And that's led me onto both sides of the fence or rather both sides of the table. First as an executive assistant. And I service what we over here in Australia called the top tiers. So that's the white collar world. And now I'm a business owner of myself. I'm a leader myself, whether I necessarily set out on that path, but that's where I've landed. And I can go more into how I discovered I was an empath if you want, but I'm going to let you ask.
No, please do. That will really set the path what you're going to talk about today for leaders. So feel free to share that with us. Okay.
Well, the most common question I get asked is, how did you discover you were an empath? So there's a little bit of a backstory. So for 42 years, I didn't realize I was an empath. And the discovery came a little bit dramatically. I was at a networking event, and between, if you've been to those things where you get different courses, it was between the entree and the main. And I kind of came down feeling a bit unwell and nauseous, and for no reason. I was fine. And then I had to excuse myself from a conversation. And one of my love languages is quality time. And so I was kind of having this conversation and said, look, I need to excuse myself. I can't concentrate. I'm not really here with you. I'm so focused on not throwing up. And she was kind of like, what are you talking about? And she disclosed that she was waiting for a multi-million-dollar deal. And so she was full of nerves and thought she was going to throw up. And the moment she acknowledged it was her anxiety, the sensation left my body. And so she kind of laughed and she was like, oh, you must be a powerful empath. What are you talking about? And that's when the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole opened up, and I dove in to understand what on earth happened to me. And I came to see what I thought was mild anxiety all my life was actually me absorbing other people's feelings, mistaking them for myself, and just like not living fully because I was holding back because of what I thought was permanent anxiety. And so I'd just been living by somebody else's nervous system instead of my own. And that put me on the path I'm on now to help other people understand that maybe some of these sensitivities are not actually our own, or rather the sensitivities are our own, but the receptors
of that energy are coming from other people. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I help people to place, to purge, and to protect what is and isn't theirs. And that's a fast, short story.
Wow. That's powerful. And I'm sure, like, if listeners that, ask yourself, sometimes, like, when you feel like, like you just feel heavy inside. I mean, could that be all on you, or could be, you're taking on the energy of other people? Who knows? Because some people might, be getting have had cues to this, but just didn't know what it was, and so on. So what would you could share with the audience, Mel, like, would be some of the ways that you got those signs and cues to, that you were an empath? What would those look like if people now are, here listening going, God, I'm experiencing some things and I just don't know where it's coming from?
I think the easiest way of identifying and that is by that example I had of questioning, well, where does this come from? Am I really feeling this way? Why? And something happens within our psyche and nervous system that it's kind of like calling out the bad mood in the room. Like, why are you feeling this way? And it's really bizarre how a physiological self responds. Actually, the inner part of us knows that I'm not feeling unwell. I'm actually, and it's not, you're telling yourself and trying to talk yourself into not feeling nervous, or there is a literal response in your body that knows your inner truth. And I'm not. I'm not. Okay, so where could this be coming from? And that's the self-learning of, where is this being placed? Is it mine? Is it coming from external? Does that answer your question?
Definitely. And I hope, for you listeners that's resonating, or anybody that you might maybe suspect that could be, can benefit, from what is being shared, definitely make sure this show is shared with somebody that can help them. So with that being said, Mel, like, if somebody now is, these very things that could be now sabotaging their situations, whether, in a business world, like when they're dealing with customers, if they're dealing with their own people, or when reporting to their superiors and so on. And now that they may have some of these signs, what would be some of the things that you could share that they could be helping themselves to, change that?
Well, that's a really broad question. The first thing is it, am I the empath or is somebody else? So that, I can speak to two lenses here. The first thing is, if I think I'm a highly sensitive person, which is the label people kind of go, oh, that's what we're talking about here, is you can protect yourself. You can limit, and there's two parts. That's physically controlling your environment. And the easiest way I compare it, and it's not comparing to, it's it's like a similarity, is if you're on the spectrum. So people who are on the spectrum learn that they have physical sensitivities. So this is what I'm talking about, is internal sensitivities.
Yeah.
So those who are on the spectrum, for example, may have very sensitive skin, or they may be very sensitive to the surrounds. And so external noise can be very overwhelming. So what we're talking about in the sense of being an empath is, how can you control, when you know what your sensitivities are? There can be up to 9 receptors. When you know what that one is, how can I control that? So here's a different story. A few years ago, I was hungover. Now, I don't often drink to the consumption of being hungover, but on this occasion I was. It was Christmas time. And I had agreed to meet friends in, I don't know if you have them in the US, but in malls, and there's like bars on the outside of the malls.
We have them.
Yeah. So it was, outside, and there was daylight and all the rest of it. So we park in the multi-story car park. And so this particular day was a little bit under the weather, a bit cloudy. And as we walked through the mall to get to the bar, which I wasn't more drinking, it was just lunch. But as we were walking through it, I was just feeling like a massive migraine. And secondly, like I was being stabbed as I walked through the mall. And I said to my partner, now my husband, I was like, I don't know what's going on. It was before I really understood what being an empath was. It was like in the first 6 months, like, oh my God, what is going on? And so I said, I just need to close my eyes and I need you to get me out of here. Like, so I just held his hand and he guided me quite quickly, and we kind of duck and move. And I didn't care what people thought of me. It's like, get me out of here. It was like everybody who looked at me, I could feel it was like daggers being thrown at me, until I closed my eyes, and that actually protected me a little. And then there was one point I kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, when are we there? When are we there? And I could see the sunlight. And it was like, oh. And as we actually came out into the daylight, and, all the crowd of the mall was behind me, it stopped. Like the physical assault on my psyche and my energy field stopped. And those kind of moments when first you awaken to it going, I would have thought of, I don't know, like having a panic attack or having
an anxiety attack. I used to get those way back in the day, the anxiety attacks. Yeah.
And so it wasn't. Now I understand my defenses were down because I was hungover and I didn't know how to protect myself the way I do now. And that's what I kind of teach people is you can just put up barriers, especially when your nervous system is exposed, like a hangover. And when I explain that story to people, it's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm exposed to the influences around me. Does that answer your question of how to?
That absolutely answers the question. Yes, thank you so much. And I we're going to get into in the second segment. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the situations that could be common with leaders in business or in the workplace. Can even be on a personal level, and I'm sure you're going to be sharing a lot of valuable insights because I know we got to go to break here in about a minute and a half, but. Before we get into that in the second segment, is there anything that you want to elaborate on what you shared here in the first segment, or anything you want to sum up to what you shared with us about this thing? Are you an empath, or are you again working with an empath? Whatever that is, if you would like to share that, and then we're going to get into like the meat of the topic here in the second segment.
I think the number one thing the message I really, really want to get across is we don't have to be victim to this. We do not have to be stuck with this curse of being so sensitive. It can be controlled. We don't have to take it all on board, and we can purge and protect ourselves. Whether it is ourselves or those around us, and we can learn to master this.
You make a great point that a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves and as leaders. And the thing is, again, we got to always remember that, people are observing what we're doing, whether if they know it consciously or not. So we have to be able to be the example and be a resource. And I know you're going to be sharing a lot of valuable insights here in the second segment to help people that might be going through a difficult time or not understanding something about themselves, which could very well be they're an empath and don't even realize that. So I can't wait to hear that. So listeners, again, if you have any questions, you're also going to have an opportunity to get Mell's contact information here later in the show. So make sure you stick around for the entire show and how to contact her. And again, if you're a leader, this is going to be really important that not only for yourself, but to share with other leaders that could get value on us. This could help in so many different ways. We got more to come when we come back. We are talking about here the empowered empath, why some leaders self-sabotage when visibility strikes, and we'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com. Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today. You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. We're talking about the empowered empath, why some leaders self-sabotage when visibility strikes. We're here with Mell B. It's how she goes, Mell Balment from Australia. And she has really shared some valuable insights in segment one about people that could, perhaps be an empath and not even know it. That's something that she found out for herself, as she can speak from experience. So Mel, I'd be curious to know, and I'm sure the listeners as well that are listening now, that would be listening later, whether if you're a business owner, a leader in, maybe working in some business unit in a company, it does not matter. It's not defined by the title itself, but as a leader, there are some people who for some reason feel responsible for everyone around them. That could be their own family, that could be their coworkers, that could be the people that work for them, that they work for. What can they stop doing to stop rescuing the people that they're serving? This could also be clients as well, and overly accommodating them.
Yes, and it's true because generally speaking, empaths are those people who do care about others. And so as a byproduct, they take on the responsibilities of other people's problems. It's a really common trait. And some of us, certainly me in the early days, thought that that was a good thing until I started to recognize.
I'm a recovering passive communicator and aggressive behavior. So that side I can know full well. I always try to save everyone around me.
Right. And I did not know that was something I could, I guess, tame. Didn't realize that I don't have to. Now, partly I learned that through, 101 coaching, that we are not responsible for somebody else's existence. Their lessons, their experience of life, that is their journey. That is their gift of life. But along the way, from being an empath, it is we do, because we feel the world so much more. So one of the things I'm passionate about is animal welfare. And how do I not get caught up in the horrors or the disturbances that I could get entangled with is partly philosophy and partly so it's partly how I view the world. So if I look at that spiritually, is that is there to serve a purpose. Now that doesn't answer nicely all of the problems in the world, but it's a way I found of kind of separating myself, of saying, I don't understand the full meaning. I'm not a guru who has all the answers about the meaning of life, but I can separate it thinking, well, there's a reason that's happening. And maybe I don't have all the answers about their life's experience and what those stepping stones of hardship or struggle are here for their benefit. All I can look at, well, some of my awful beginnings have served me. They have helped me be a better person. So that's the philosophical side of it. From an empathic management point of view, it is by protecting. It is by recognizing, by rescuing someone else, I am not letting them work it out for themselves. By rescuing, fixing, wanting to save, you're robbing them of the opportunity to master life itself. So how do we catch ourselves before we want to save everything? Is by understanding that's a tendency. I was born with this sensitivity. Therefore, I am more adept at sensing it. And therefore, it's my responsibility to myself to protect, to create a boundary, if you have to trick yourself going, well, that creature is there for a reason, that hardship, struggle, maybe even pain and suffering, maybe that's their life's purpose, to understand something so deeply that is beyond me. Maybe that is God. Maybe that is the point in the universe. And that is not for me to solve.
Yeah, like you said, I always say that, this is something I had to learn the hard way. there are things you can control and there are things that you can't control in this world. And if you were to sum it up, I can't control other people, period. I can't control what their communication, how they're going to perceive what I said or what I meant. I can't control their behavior, attitude, emotions, or actions. I can control, and I can't control situations in itself. I can control maybe an aspect of it, but not the situation. The only body I can control is me. That's it.
That's right. And trying to control other people is also not helpful.
No.
Because you're taking away perhaps something that they need in order to evolve, grow, and become more rounded human being for whatever reason. My hardship when I was growing up, I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. Not that I have any enemies, but I now look at that awful childhood and think, that's made Mel in the really... So we choose to do empathy. I can bring empathy to a level with anybody else who's gone through something similar. I can relate to them in a way that somebody who hasn't can. And then I just have to protect myself. So it's that I know that I can be a bleeding heart in that aspect. Okay, this is not my journey. I'm not here to live then. I want to take all the pain off them. That's how I used to feel. That's actually robbing them of what's in it for them to grow through and build that resilience or such.
It's so true because, if somebody like tried to, wash away my upbringing, my trauma from my upbringing, I wouldn't be here today doing this show. I wouldn't be in the line of work that I do as an emotional intelligence expert in business. I wouldn't be doing this because all of that was a byproduct of all of that trauma I went through, but yet it wasn't something I asked for, but it was a blessing in disguise because now I learned from it and it helped me to grow into the man I am today and what I do to help other people in both business and life as well. So no, exactly. I can relate 100% what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I take it a step further. Like I often do push the boundaries of all my own thinking, that critical thinking of going, well, maybe I did sign up in this lifetime for that. Maybe I did have a soul contract that I believe, well, we're going deep now. I believe.
And we go deep here, by the way. We go deep here on sustainable success.
Oh, we do?
Oh, yeah. So we don't hold back.
I chose spiritually as a soul to go through the hardship in a soul contract with my abusive stepfather to learn true love. What is true love? Self-forgiveness.
Yes.
I forgive myself as a child for not knowing how to deal any differently. That perpetrator and I look at that soul of as a fallen angel, for lack of better terms, who chose to lower their enlightened spirit being for me to learn how to enlighten.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm an enlightened being, learning still. Otherwise, I think our time is here.
Well, you're on that path. At least you know where you're going. A lot of people don't, right? And that's what great leaders, when they can be enlightened to go that path to be an example. And that's what you're sharing here, that you don't have to own somebody's journey. It's their journey. It's just you being the example for them to do for themselves. That if something's not working, well, maybe perhaps you learn something that I'm doing differently now, or I gave you some resource that now you can maybe perhaps do something different that could help your situation. You're not looking for someone to fix it for you or to just be there that you can dump on them 24/7, because that's not going to help anything.
Yeah, and those, as you said, those difficulties, those traumas are what makes us a better human. That's what evolves our toolkit, our mindset, and our skill set. And if we save people from them, then they have to come back into another lifetime and learn it all over again.
You're so true.
Who's got lifetimes to do that?
Yeah. Well, now that I may not know it when I come back in another life, but the fact that I know it now, I want to prevent it from happening to the
Right.
best of my ability.
I want to kind of fast track my whole evolution.
Exactly. Yeah, because we keep living on and just maybe in different forms, different bodies, that type of thing. But nonetheless, it's the soul's the same. So with that being said, that was really profound what you shared with us. And if, let's say, for instance, when people come to you with problems, for instance, and a lot of people do, and sometimes they're afraid to do that, depending upon what kind of individual are. If they feel like you're going to come down on them, or you're intimidating, or you might make them feel incompetent. But let's say you are a person they feel like, oh, I can go to them. How can you set certain boundaries where people don't overstep that, and to protect your own capacity without losing your kindness?
Ooh, juicy. I think first is to recognize that that's something you tend to do, is not have a boundary, or to kind of be wishy-washy with that. And so what does that even look like or mean is a follow-up question. People kind of like, okay, great. I understand boundaries are important. How do I do that, Mel? What does that even look like? And it's there's no one clean answer, I'm afraid. It can look different ways because, again, there's those different traits. So I'm also not just an energy empathic empath. I am an intelligence empath. What that means is I get wisdom dropping in, and I've got to distill what is mine versus what is ego's. And so when we're coming to people who are bringing their stuff to us, we have to learn to recognize, well, what is mine? What is my ego's opinion on this? Because it's always with us. Like there's just this human flaw. We have this egoic perspective constantly filtered through. And then what is theirs? What is their stuff? What are they bringing? Particularly if you've got a narcissistic person around you, because we all know them.
Well, sure, we all have had experiences, at least a minimum one time. I've had plenty,
Yeah.
but nonetheless.
Until you learn what a narcissist is, you're like, oh, okay, now I understand. I'm going to cut that person out of my life. Or if you can't, because sometimes it's family member, I'm going to reduce. So that's kind of the crux of my answer is, how do I control the amount, the frequency, the duration, how much I get sucked into their stuff? One of the terms is their drama. Oh, they're bringing that crap again. And it's because I'm allowing them to dump all of their stuff, their things that fuels them sometimes. How do you protect yourself with that? By recognizing that you are susceptible and you're a little bit nice and you're a little bit too kind, and always make yourself fully available. One of my favorite phrases I picked up from a coach, Janine Howard, she says, I'm just not available for that. I use that everywhere now. I'm not available for that.
Like that. I always say, like, I want to be valuable to people. I don't want to just be available, because if I'm available, then I'm not necessarily going to be valuable. So when I show up,
can I borrow that? I like that.
Yeah, if you can use that.
Available, not valuable.
Valuable, and not just exactly. Yeah, because that means I'm saying I have boundaries. And now that the time I'm giving you, that's the time that I'm giving you 150% of my focus. Where if I'm available, yeah, I might be available listening, but I'm also thinking about what I got to do here. I'm probably checking my email. I'm hearing you, but I'm not really listening to relate and understand like I think I am.
And it's possible. So, I think you use the term consent-based, and that's really important to say, especially in the workplace. Okay, I've got X amount of time. I've got 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, an hour, how you choose to talk about this thing or to explore that, or I'm available to support you. Is it okay that to help myself, we then change the subject after 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And if that person does not respect that request, it makes me then think, are they always taking, or are they always purging on me? And if conversations, they go around and sometimes like, you're not quite done. We're not talking about that. It's when you've asked to change the subject, or you're like, okay, I need to get back to work, or whatever. I need to change. We set a time zone and this is being purged, and you're still trying to dump and take advantage of me. That's when you start paying attention to that relationship dynamic. They are actually not respecting what I asked for. I'm being kind enough to say, I'll give you all of this container of space, and you want more, and you're not respecting that. I can't because I just can't do any more. Especially if you are limited. Like at the moment, there was no way at this time of the morning that I could do any more than an hour. I would not ever agree to a 2-hour interview because I just will not wake up well. Not because I'm tired, but because this takes energy. I'm giving myself and opening myself up. So I have nothing planned for the morning. And people are like, oh, well, you had a late night. No, I'm actually consciously and graciously protecting my energy source. The battery has to be
the same way when I speak on stages and then people want to network afterwards. I can network first, and then at a certain point, I got to go to my room. I'm done. Nothing personal. It's just I got to protect my energy. I got to fill my cup back up for tomorrow so I can be more valuable to other people. That's it.
Yeah, because you cannot be valuable. You haven't got much to give if you're drained because you've made yourself too available. I'm really going to borrow that.
Empty cup. How can people drink from an empty cup? You can't.
Yeah.
Drinking air. So there's nothing there. Well, I know we got more that you're going to be covering here in the last segment here. Just great information that you're sharing here, Mel. I hope everybody is getting great value. Again, can't urge enough to go back and listen to the show again. Share it with people that you feel that could really benefit from this. And again, you're going to get a chance to get Mel's contact information here. Stick around towards the end of the show. And then also she'll be able to give you some other information that could help you, that you could tap into as well. We got more to come here when we come right back. We got more to discuss in the topic that we are talking about today, the empowered empath, why some leaders self-sabotage when visibility strikes. We'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. We're talking about the empowered empath, why some leaders self-sabotage when visibility strikes. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct, a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together for the first time and an opportunity to meet new people as well. Now, they also feature a special section now for professional athletes, for those athletes now that have retired and now transforming their lives into the regular routine. That could be either starting a new business, buying a franchise, or starting a new career, whatever that may be. Well, guess what? You don't have to do it alone. Now you can do it with other athletes now doing the same thing in groups that you could form to create interaction that could help you move forward. They also feature a podcast in this area called From Athlete to Entrepreneur, hosted by the founder and CEO of the company, Rob Finkelstein. Feel free to check that out if that applies to you or people you know at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. So with that being said, Mel, just valuable insights that you have shared here today. And I can't thank you enough. I know so many people are getting value. We also have people here that face certain situations, whether if they're interviewing or they have to make a presentation that's going to make or break their career, so to speak. Could be somebody who's speaking. I'm a professional speaker. We have a lot of speakers that listen to this show, and now they're going to be going on stage to maybe an audience they've never had experience with or serve. So with that being said, let's say you're going to be doing something uncomfortable, like speaking in front of an audience you've never done. You're going to be interviewing for a position that for some reason has got you very nervous and or you feel like you're shy or you got a pitch that you have to do for a client. What can you do that will still get things done rather than procrastinate?
Yes, really interesting question. It's the number one thing is when you identify as an empath, because it becomes part of your identity, is, okay, how do I use this as a superpower? How does this become something that I can leverage and use as a gift instead of a curse? And the way I do that is understanding ego. So it's a little bit of the mindset of, I really want to do this thing, like you're saying, the next stage or the next level, whatever that next thing is. And when I first started podcasting, example is there was one, it was quite a big show and I was kind of nervous about it. I hadn't done many guesting shows and I just didn't show up. Subconsciously, I just forgot about it. So that's a form of self-sabotage.
Yes.
Highly unprofessional. Had to grovel and we made good, but I was shooting myself reputationally because I had not caught up with, my psyche is worried about the next level, as it turned out, of judgment. And it's a really popular and common issue that more success brings more eyeballs on us. There's more possibility for our imposter syndrome to be called out. There's more opportunity for people to troll us or to say something that is an opposing view. If we don't even realize, so the mindset awareness of, I actually have not up-leveled my own awareness of where I want to be, then the sensitivities can be heightened, and what we are tuning in and receiving then can make us sick, can attract in people who sabotage for us, who distract us, or things we draw in ways of pulling us off that higher calling, that goal that we're actually trying to accomplish. And so recognizing that we need to up-level ourselves before we up-level and do that thing. Where does that come from? The sensitivities and understanding what your trait is, what that radar, and it might need to be dialed down before you do that thing. So before you go into the stage or before you do that interview or whatever that thing is, okay, what am I most afraid of? By acknowledging it, you can then dial the receptor down and go, okay, I'm now aware that might be an issue. So it's a preparation before you do the thing, so that when the timing of the thing comes, you don't do what I do and completely destroy the opportunity.
Wow. Wow, powerful stuff. Again, we could all relate to that. I know I could back in the day. It took me, I've been doing speaking now for 26 years professionally, 32 years total. I've been doing it a long time, but I can go look back with that and how, I was able to work with it. So you shared a lot of things that I learned along the way. Love what you shared there. Another question, and this would be, for entrepreneurs. Where do you find mainstream entrepreneurs inadvertently bypass or push the boundaries of what you call energetic sovereignty?
Yeah, so this is something I've really come to understand, particularly around COVID. We started to understand not just physical boundaries, but what aligns with my value system, what makes me me. So that sovereign decisions and choices is a really powerful, and that's where the empowered part comes from. So when you understand who you are, what makes you tick, what my sensitivities are, what my radar receptors are, all of these pieces, your personality, your type, the people around, it's a whole puzzle, not just one thing. And sorry, I've lost my train of thought there for a second. Remind me the crux of the question, please.
Yeah. So again, with when you look at mainstream entrepreneurs, they will sometimes inadvertently bypass or push boundaries of what you call the energetic sovereignty.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So the bypass part is if you know all of what makes you, you, and then you come across, it's kind of like that not available piece we were speaking about earlier, is, are they gaslighting me? Are they triggering me deliberately or not in a way that is bypassing what makes me me? Am I pushing what really matters, what is really critically important to me, to please someone else? How are we holding true to who, what, and how we operate, especially as empaths? Because if we are not holding to those boundaries, if we're not being true to what fills our cup up, we are being depleted. And it works in a really profound, fast way. The overwhelm, the issues that can arise from that come up very quickly.
Wow. Love it. Love what you shared there. Great insights. And now I know we're getting towards the end of the show, and I want to sneak in one more question before we let people know where to find you. Let's say, you have a business owner, a high performer, and they want to scale, and how would they access you if that business growth is something their nervous system can actually sustain, and follow up what markers tells them to slow down or gives them the green light for more growth, like knowing how to, I guess, read those signals and knowing when to put on the brakes, when to, push the accelerator forward?
I'm trying to think how to answer that one.
So if somebody wants to scale, but sometimes they get nervous, or like something, maybe they get anxiety, and it could be, something getting to the next level. Now they're like, why is this happening to me? Do I need to do I need to throttle back? Do I need to maybe just still push forward? What would that look like?
Again, it's those boundaries. It's staying true to what lights you up, what energizes you. So a term people understand is that introverted versus extroverted, what actually energizes you and what drains you. And I think it can be as simple of really operating and going through life in a way that is sustainable, that is sovereign to how you want to live life, because a lot of us are following the rules of others versus how we want to show up. And it's often on our pillow that we were reflecting. I've got hiccups and thinking that's not actually. I wish I'd done that differently.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're ruminating over. Is we actually had a values breach of ourself, of our sovereign way of operating, and I actually didn't want to do that for whatever reason.
Yeah. No, those are really great points, and I respect your transparency. I can look back and, now I can see back when, when I was trying to grow my business where, what was like limited beliefs that were holding me back and what I needed to push through there, but also knowing when to throttle back. They say, hey, you have to rest, or you can't take on what you can't control. You got to focus on what you have right now in front of you just to focus on that and what you can control. So I had to get really clear with those messages. And sometimes that clarity took time through, meditating every day, journaling, taking the head trash out. And those are some of the things that helped me. No, just great insights, what you did. I know we're getting towards the end of the show. I wanted to, before we let people know where to find you, is there anything that you wanted to get across to the audience on this topic? Either what you've already shared to elaborate or anything else that you feel could really connect the dots, what you shared here today with us.
What else do people need to know? I think we doubt ourselves far more than we should. I think we don't trust the wisdom that we have within. We are often looking for that external guidance or external validation. A simple example is I've had many business coaches in the 9 years I've been operating, and sometimes the advice is just not right for me. It's a great strategy or tactic. It's just not right for me. And trying to push uphill something that doesn't align with me and how I want to be in the world, that takes courage.
Yeah.
It's not that it's the wrong thing. It's just not right for you.
Just not right for you. Yeah. There's no cookie cutter thing where everything has to work for everybody. And I agree 100%. Well, I want to leave this time. First of all, before we do that, I want to thank you personally, number one, for taking the time. It's the middle of the night and you're here giving everybody this wonderful wisdom and valuable insights. I want to thank you not only from our team here at Sustainable Success and on behalf of the audience, but also me personally. I want to thank you very much for being here today.
It's my pleasure. It's what I'm here on earth to do. So thank you.
And I want to, give you this opportunity. How can the audience get to know you? What are you up to? Anything that you would like to give them? Anything where they can now interact and getting connection with you?
I think the first thing that I love people to do is really understand what kind of empath they are or the people around them. And to do that is to get the resource there's 10 traits of an empath, and then there's 9 types of empaths. So the traits are the things that are kind of like the clues and indicators of what makes an empath, kind of, those red flags. And then secondly, learning what kind of empath you are from those radars. So I strongly recommend and encourage. It's free. It's nothing in it for me. It's me helping the world evolve. And so to get that, I'm sure you have the link, podcasts-freebies. And that's specifically for the listeners to get those tools to just experiment. And we all love a good quiz about a personality. And it can really help people identify, and then, the tips on the back of that when you have the insights.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you for sharing that. And again, we highly encourage everybody to reach out to Mell. All of her contact information shared will also be in the show notes here on the Lisbon platform. Also, you'll be able to get that on Apple, Spotify as well. Again, we encourage you to take advantage. Listen to this show again. Reach out, make a connection, get more information. Again, this is a great way, especially for you leaders out there. A lot of times we may not understand what's going on. And now with you've heard this show, you've related to what Mell has shared. Perhaps maybe now you can get some more clarity that can help you now better be able to manage this and point in the right direction. So this has been great. Mel, thank you so much again for being here. Thank you for that from all of us here at Sustainable Success.
No problem. It was a delight.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Sustainable Success. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Mel in, sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business to the next level. Again, feel free to check this show out here at the Lisbon platform, Spotify, Apple, and our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Take care.
Thank you for tuning into Sustainable Success. Be sure to join Chris Salem and his guests every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel. Have an incredible week.